Hey y'all, welcome back to Mima's house. Today I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to bake my own birthday cake, a coconut pineapple layer cake. Let's get to cooking. And of course, here are the ingredients that we'll be using to make our cake. 2¼ cups all-purpose flour. I'm using cake flour today because I want it light and fluffy. 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1¼ cup granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 3 eggs, 2 egg yolks, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and 1 cup of buttermilk. I'm going to start my cake today by sifting my dry ingredients together. Since I was using my 1/4 cup in order to measure out my oil, it was holding my oil right then, I thought I'd go ahead and measure out 1/4 cup by measuring 3 tablespoons of the cornstarch, which makes about 1/4 cup. So that's what you see me doing here. Then once we get that in and we get the other ingredients in, we can go ahead and sift. Now that the dry ingredients have been sifted together, I'm going to go ahead and separate out my 2 eggs that I need 2 egg yolks for. The other eggs will go into one bowl. Now that that's all done, because you've seen me separate eggs before, I didn't figure you wanted to see that. So let's do a little cleanup here, and then we'll get our cake started by mixing our butter, oil, and sugar. While that is creaming, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my buttermilk. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and add our vanilla. Now I'll let that go until the vanilla is added in totally to the mixture. Now it's time to go ahead and add our eggs one at a time. But first, let me scrape down my mixing bowl and my paddle. Now let's add our eggs, one at a time, beating until that yolk just about disappears. One more time to scrape, and then we'll alternate our dry ingredients with our buttermilk. Of course, I'll start with my flour, and I usually divide this up into just about thirds. So a third of the flour will go in, and then half of the buttermilk, and then another third of the flour, half of the buttermilk, and then the last third, and which will be the last thing that will go into our mixture. Now that all of those ingredients have been added, I'm going to go ahead and hand mix the cake at the very end to make sure that all of my ingredients get all mixed together, like I've said before, from the top of the bowl to the bottom of the bowl. Now, since this is a layer cake, I'm going to prepare my 2-layer pans. And these are 9-inch, I believe, cake pans. They're from Wilton, and I'll put them in the description box below if I can find a link for them. I'm going to prepare them by spraying the baking pan, adding a parchment paper sheet that you can get from Walmart, and I'll see if I can get the link for that as well, because that makes baking layer cakes much easier. So there in goes my parchment paper sheets, and I'm going to spray those with the Pam as well. Now, most people don't do that, and that's fine. And you really don't have to. I just don't want my cakes to stick on no side. So let's go ahead and pour in our batter. We're going to divide this up in two. And if you want to be very specific about it, you can use your scale, your kitchen scale, to measure out the batter that's in either of your cake pans to make sure that you have the same amount in each one and they're equal. But since this is not a serious matter, I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball it like I always do. Now these are ready to go into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes because I like to kind of check to see whether they're ready. And sure enough, 26 minutes, the cakes are ready. So let's pull them out and we'll get them cooling. While the cakes are cooling, I'm going to go ahead and get my icing together. The icing itself is a buttercream with whipped topping, which is almost like a chantilly cream frosting. It's just a little lighter frosting, and it does require refrigeration. Then I'll get my fruit filling, which is my pineapple, in, and we'll get all of our cake iced and ready to eat. Now I'm putting in 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, but now that I have 20/20 hindsight, that was a little sweet for me, so I'm going to cut that recipe back to 1 cup of powdered sugar to that 1/2 cup of butter, and then we'll add our Cool Whip. And of course, we'll add enough milk to make it the consistency that we want. And don't add but a little bit of milk at a time, because once you get that milk in, you can't take it out. So add it just a little bit at a time to gauge how much or what your icing is looking like. I'm going to beat this for just a few minutes to make sure that all of the sugar and butter and milk is all incorporated. It looks like the consistency I want it to be, so I'll let this whip just a little while and then I'll add the Cool Whip. Now to my frosting, I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of coconut extract. Coconut extract is pretty strong, so I don't want it to be overpowering because I am going to add some shredded coconut on it as well. I just want the hint of coconut in the frosting. If you like more, you can add more, but I don't like the aftertaste sometimes that the extracts can leave. Now that that part of the frosting is done, let's go ahead and make our pineapple filling, which is really easy. It only calls for crushed pineapple, and I'm going to do pretty much everything out of this can. I've washed the top of my can off because, you know, they can be grungy. But I've washed it off, and I'm going to put some of my pineapple into the pan with my 1/2 cup of sugar, and then the juice that's left in the can, I will add my cornstarch as a thickener that will thicken the pineapple to make the pineapple filling. Now I will heat this pineapple and sugar mixture until it's boiling. And while that's heating, I'm going to go ahead and add my cornstarch to that little bit of pineapple that I have left in the can. And that was only left because I needed that juice, like I said. So I'm going to add about 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now this is simmered for 5 minutes. I've been stirring the whole time, well, on and off. It doesn't have to consistently be stirred, but it does have to be stirred during the process. Now that it's thickened, I can take it off the heat and let it cool. I'm transferring it to another bowl, and I will put the bowl in the refrigerator. Okay, y'all, so the pineapple filling has cooled, and it's time to frost our cake. And here's the final result, my birthday cake. Y'all know I like a coconut cake, so let's go ahead and cut it and let Ari taste a little slice. Okay, my taste tester is here.
It's nice and smooth, and it's like a tropical kind of cake. I like it.
Good. Well, thank you very much. There y'all have it. I'm not getting on camera today because I've been baking all day. But y'all be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I do hope you give this recipe a try. It was delicious, and happy birthday to me. And if you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so. Y'all be blessed. Bye.